Hey, 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 yeah.
Welcome, America. Well, whatever there is of America here. I'm PegLegCraig, and tonight we got a little serious business that we got to start right off with. All right. As you know, I'm a huge promoter of protecting our children. Well, tonight we're going to look at it from many angles. Okay. Now, I want to start it off with something that's going to be a little bit hard to take. So, everybody just relax, hear this man out, and let's discuss. But without getting too caught up in certain pieces of minutia, and I'll explain why. For some reason, I cannot click on anything, producer. Why is that? Uh-oh. I'm not sure what's going on here. Okay, let me start with a refresh. Give me 1 second. Now, all righty then, we're back. All right, let me try this again now. All right. Now, this is a gentleman named Eric. He lives on the West Coast, I believe somewhere in the Washington State area, perhaps. Um, and he makes a point here. And I'm not going to overdo this point, but it's a good point. I am blonde haired, blue eyed, white male. My children are half black. They tell me stories from before I was awarded full custody of them. Stories include lack of responsibility, violence, neglect, and substance abuse from various generations within the household. It affects them a great deal. We continue to deal with the effects. Even with hardships we still go through, I am grateful they are with me. Though imperfect, it is 100% better place. It is 100% better place for them. To this very day, I get calls routinely from CPS about their mother and her newest child. Almost set my calendar to them. The last one was 2 to 3 months ago. Report of violence and neglect. I don't know that it's racial, but I do think there is a cultural incompatibility. I have no idea. My younger self was naive. Everyone is the same inside. When things started going bad, I was forced to open my eyes. People are not the same. Cultures are not the same. Okay, now I know that what he's saying there is that in his white household, his kids are faring better than they did in their black household, and that he's making a larger point. It really depends on the culture of where you are. I live across the street from a housing project, that kind of housing project, yes. And I get along well with everybody. The kids are very respectful to me. I'm an old man. I'm a white guy. They don't care. They're very nice. They're very polite. And nobody steps on anybody's toes, and we all watch each other's backs. So it's not necessarily, a everything, bagel here. What we're talking about is that certain places have a ghetto culture going on. All right. And if you want me to equivocate, you could say, well, it's the same as the trailer park trash culture, which is pretty damn, greasy and nasty itself. All right. But a ghetto culture is more violent. I mean, obviously, there's more crimes in cities than there are in, more suburban areas. And there's more crime in, blue cities than there are in redder cities. So there is a component there, and it's something that we have to be weary of because a lot of these kids are suffering. Most of the kids committing problems. I'm not some bleeding heart liberal. If they commit a crime, they should do the time, all right, or whatever the proper sentence is. They should definitely be doing that. I have no problem with that whatsoever. What I do have a problem with is like that we can tend to just say, well, because it's a cluster of these, then, this is going to be bad, or a cluster of those, or a cluster of them. And even in, other neighborhoods that other people control, they see a cluster of us. Okay. It's more about trying to get control of the culture as a whole than it is any one single component of it. And we have to stop making the world such a violent place for our children to be in. A place where they have to use their survival instincts as best they can. Some of them, it's very supine and they're submissive. And some of them, become, hardened by it. And they become the type of criminals that you deal with later on in life. And you don't want to have to. All right. You don't want them to grow up like that. They could be doing any number of other things. But we have to start going into the various neighborhoods of America and finding ways to keep our children safe. Much safer than they are now. Even the worst neighborhoods. Things have to happen. Things have to change. Don't tell me that it's racism that I care that your kid lives to have a wonderful, fruitful, productive life. Because it's not. And I have no problem with them putting it into places like Alaska, which is a white place, and it is technically the place where you are most likely to get murdered. I mean, per capita. So whatever it takes to save our kids from the violence. All right, I'm all about it. But let's move on to the next problem. Now, as you know, I've been playing some esports and I'm trying to learn the lay of the land and see how it affects children. Well, this is just anecdotal. I don't have any screenshots to show you with this, but I can tell you that kids on there are extremely mean, easy to bully, easy to be bullies. They're glad handing the bully thing altogether. And there are a lot of other things too. I mean, it's, but they're kids being kids. And look, I don't necessarily agree with it. I think parents have to do a better job of looking after their kids. But my point in saying that is that I see things that are corrupting kids in a place like that. A lot of things that are corrupting kids. And I'm not talking about necessarily on a sexual basis. I'm talking about their, their attitude or their behavior or whatever else. So we have to be very weary on that. Believe it or not, it is my prescription time. What I'm trying to say here is that we have to do a better job of policing these video game sites. And I don't mean that we have to come in there like Big Brother and ruin everybody's fun all the time. What I'm saying is that there are people doing things that are way over the top on there, as you've seen recently with the controversy over. Everybody talking about that video game. I mentioned it last week, and I can't get it off the top of my head today, but it's out there. It doesn't matter. Zip something? Oh, okay. Well, I don't know. All right. If you don't know, I don't know. Now, this is a problem. Okay. And I want to discuss this in a little more depth because what we have here is, the drag show mentality that's starting to permeate into places in America. And what they're doing is they're turning all these little kids into potential. Yeah, there you go. Perfect. They turn all these little kids into potential monsters. All right. And what do I mean by monsters? Well, look at all the trans people that are shooting up places, shooting up schools, shooting up, wherever, committing violent crimes, taking on ICE, throwing Molotovs at ICE vehicles and other improvised explosives. Although a Molotov isn't really an improvised explosive. So what we got to do is we have to stop this. All right. Even if it's not our town anymore. You know what? All these kids here, they need to be saved from this. All right. If you're good Christians and you're in these areas, you need to stand up against this stuff. You hear about a drag show somewhere, you got to get there. You got to be in its face. All right. And you got to let people know. You got to bring shame back. All right. We are lacking shame in our society. Everything is equivocation. Oh, well, they do this, so we can do that, you know. But here's equivocation. I don't want them taking, boys to a strip club when they're little kids either, or to have strippers read stories to kids, you know, females. I mean, actual born organic females. So why would I want this? And why would you want this? And why would you allow this? This is not, under any circumstances, right under God's law. Okay? And even under morality, moral law, this is disgusting. People say, well, in the 20s and 30s, they had 12 and 13-year-olds getting married. It was a very different time. I don't approve of it then. All right. But at the same time, it was, a very cultural thing. And they were heterosexual marriages that, generally put a person who was in poor conditions could marry a person who, made money and supported a family. And they built families on it. And you know what? We built America. Now, again, those guys marrying girls that young, they're very rare in that generation. And again, I do not approve of it. But I can say that it was fruitful and they multiplied well. They built the World War II generation, which were, some of the best Americans, we call them the greatest generation. And then from there, you still had, this sort of stronger generation heading into the Korean War and into the Vietnam War. And it was right about there that everything started to get a little bit nuts. Now, we returned to sanity a little bit because we had all those Vietnam protests. There were all the stinky hippies and doing all their hippie things and whatever else. But at the same time, they little by little would put on suits and ties and go work as investment bankers because that's how we got the rip-roaring 80s. All right. But here's one thing that we all had in common from running those time periods down to up. Okay. We looked after our kids. And if somebody touched a kid, it was an abomination to everybody. All right. That person was not safe in prison. That person was not safe to be around. All right. That's what we did back then. We made them shame. All right. Look what they're doing to the rainbow. Rainbow was God's symbol to Noah. That I will never take the earth, I will never destroy the earth this way again. All right. It's carefully worded, but he wouldn't flood the earth again. And that rainbow means a lot to us Christians. All right. Anyone who loves God should love the rainbow. And what they're trying to do is pervert it. And what they're doing to our kids is turning them into perverse beings. The last trans shooter, I don't name anybody, okay, ever. But the last trans shooter, the attack on the Assumption School, Catholic school, that guy had, at the end of his life, he realized that he was wrong to become trans. He should never have done it. And I guess also at that point in his life, he felt it was sort of irreversible and it made him hate himself more. Now, I'm not making excuses for this scumbag. I'm glad he's dead, and I would have proudly put a bullet in his head myself if I had had the opportunity, but I can't quite reach that far. Okay? There's a problem. And the problem is that we are not looking after our kids. All right. Everyone started blaming his mother after all that, but it turns out the father was the real enabler. The mother, possibly, I mean, to some extent, yeah. But I think that she also was very much against his lifestyle and how he lived. She seemed, by all measure, to be a good Catholic. Please excuse the water. Those pills are awful. Um, so there's that. Now let's move on to the next, and that's some beautiful artwork there. I do believe that was done specially for you folks, by a very special person. And I never give enough thanks to both my producers, the content producer in my ear, and my technical producer, who really, really kicks their butt to make the show as good as they can. All right, let's look at the next thing. All right, while they're talking about sending kids off to transgender shows, and all this other stuff in these book time stories, Washington State Kindergarten Sex Ed. Objective: kids can identify their own gender and name at least 3 gender identities. Key message: some people are boys, some people are girls, and some people are both, and some people are neither. This is Babylon all over again. Okay? They're changing what words mean. Okay? I mean, they're changing what gender means. There's nothing more pure to nature than the assignment of gender. What genitalia you're born with is what you are. Okay? And it's important that we respect that fact, that there is a boy and there is a girl. Any other problems that you have, we can do within that sex. And when you're grown up and you're 18, you can do whatever abominations you want unto yourself. But when you're a kid, you should not be allowed to do this. These decisions are irreversible, and they're leading to us making monsters. All right? And again, we're encouraging this, all right, in places like Washington. And yet here in other places around the country, we have places like New Jersey, where New Jersey school administrator with career in athletics charged with molesting student. Now, if I have access to that link, I hope. Okay, let me just, okay, there. I believe that's it. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Okay, A school administrator in Atlantic County is accused of groping a young child in a sexual manner. On Thursday, 34 Darnell Williams of Whiting, the Whiting section of Manchester, was arrested on charges of sexual assault under the age of 13, endangering the welfare of a child, and official misconduct, all second-degree offenses. Williams was a school supervisor at the Hamilton Township School District of Atlantic County, where police began an investigation into the reported incident last winter. Officials placed him on administrative leave, then fired him before the end of the school year. School Superintendent Jeffrey Zito confirmed to New Jersey 101.5. As a district, we're committed to the safety and security and well-being of every student. Take any allegations regarding employee misconduct seriously. We take, so that's one. Now, I'm going to go through, I'm not going to read every individual article word by word. All right. But I want you to get an idea of, just in New Jersey, how many teachers are acting in a sexual manner with children. Okay. One of them is a janitor, but it's still in a school system. Williams also coached in Ocean County, so we know that about him. Accused New Jersey sex predator school staff this year and last. A number of teachers, coaches, coaches and school staff around New Jersey have been arrested in 2024 and this year for a range of sexual offenses. Now let's check this out. You'd be surprised at the number of women too. Laura Caron, 34, of Cape May Courthouse, was arrested in January 2025 and charged with first-degree aggravated sexual assault and second-degree counts of sexual assault and endangering the welfare of a child. The 5th grade teacher at Middle Township Elementary School was immediately placed on paid administrative leave, school officials said. Between 2016 and 2020, the victim and his 2 siblings lived with Karen when the sexual abuse began. Cape May County prosecutor Jeffrey Sutherland said. It was not until December 2024 that police were contacted. School officials received a tip about a social media post made by the victim's father asking about Kara's now 5-year-old child bearing a resemblance to the victim. So there's one. Okay, let's go to the next one. Alex Palmares. Alex Palmares is a teacher at St. Thomas Aquinas High School, a Catholic school, was arrested on May 27th. The Spanish teacher and girls soccer coach was charged with second-degree counts of manufacturing child sexual abuse material and endangering the welfare of a child, third-degree possession of child sex abuse material, and fourth-degree invasion of privacy. Pretty sick. Let's move on to this. Julie Rizzatello, I guess. The 35-year-old Wall Township High school has been accused, it should be high school teacher, has been accused of having a sexual relationship with a student. Julie, of Brick, submitted her resignation to the district days before being arrested July 3rd, 2024. She engaged in sexual acts with the victim starting earlier that year, according to Monmouth County Prosecutor's Office. She was charged with 2 counts of second-degree sexual assault, third-degree witness tampering, and 3 counts of fourth-degree criminal sexual contact. Justin McGee, a Monmouth County teacher and girls basketball coach, has been accused of sexually assaulting a student from his high school. McGee of Ocean Township coached a Middleton High School North, where he led the girls basketball team for 8 years. The 35-year-old was arrested January 2025 and charged with second-degree counts of sexual assault and endangering the welfare of a child. Police said starting in late 2024, McGee engaged in sexual acts with a victim younger than 18. Okay, Daryl R. Moody. Moody of Plainfield was arrested in Trenton in August 2024. The former teacher and basketball coach was accused of sexually assaulting a child repeatedly over a 5-year span. The victim contacted Trenton police on May 24 to report the incidents of sexual assault that began in 2024 when the student was in middle school. Investigators found sexual abuse happened through 2019 when the victim was in high school. Moody was teaching 5th grade at Parker Elementary School and coaching basketball at Joyce Kilmer Middle School during that time. He's charged with first-degree aggravated sexual assault and second-degree sexual assault and 2 counts of aggravated criminal sexual assault and criminal sexual contact endangering the welfare of a child. Here's another woman, Allison Haverman Niederreck. A Monmouth County teacher, then 43, was arrested in June 2024, similarly accused of a sexual relationship with a student. She was charged with a first-degree aggravated sexual assault and second-degree child endangerment for alleged activities with the student while she worked at Freehold Intermediate School. She was indicted on charges in March 2025. Who do we have here? James Wygand. I don't know what that is. Wygand? Yeah, I guess. 43 of Sparta. There's a Sparta in New Jersey? How did I not know this? Sparta was arrested in March 2025. The Morris County High School teacher and longtime multi-level soccer coach has been accused of sending sexual and suggestive messages to a young teen. The Parsippany High School studies teacher was alleged to have sent sexual and suggestive messages via Instagram to the 14-year-old between September and November 2024. He was charged with third-degree endangering the welfare of a child. In 2024, Wygand also began his 6th season as assistant coach of the Drew University women's soccer team. He was suspended from his job at both schools, officials confirmed. Oh, we're not even near it yet. Jessica Sawicki. In April 2024, 37-year-old Jessica Sawicki was arrested for alleged activities involving a minor student. The investigation spanned at least 3 counties. Sawicki was a Point Pleasant resident working at Hamilton High School West in Mercer County. She was found meeting students for alleged sexual activities at Assunpink I actually know this place. I don't live too far from here. Wildlife Management Area, according to the Monmouth County Prosecutor's Office. Sawicki was charged with 5 counts each of sexual assault and endangering the welfare of a child, all second-degree offenses. She appeared at an April court hearing covered by the Asbury Park Press. Ryan Ramsey. In February 2025, the longtime Ocean County High School teacher and basketball coach was charged with sexual assault incidences from incidences that happened 13 years ago. Ramsey, the head boys coach and social studies teacher at Manchester Township High School, was charged with sexual assault by someone with supervisory authority over a minor. The victim was then a 17-year-old senior who did report the incidents in 2025. Officials said to New Jersey 101.5 that Ramsey stopped coaching the team in January and was no longer teaching. Oh, who do we have here? Amy DeVito. Yeah, I guess it is. Amy DeVito, a 46-year-old married art teacher accused of sexually assaulting a teen student multiple times in several locations, including Garfield Middle School, according to Bergen County prosecutor Mark Musella. Amy DeVito of Pompton Plains was arrested in February 2024 on charges that included aggravated sexual assault, endangering the welfare of a child, and criminal sexual contact. Next perv. Jeffrey Munguia. Boy, I'm butchering all these names, and who cares? They're scumbags. Also, in April 2024, a 32-year-old former middle school teacher in Middlesex County was charged with the sexual assault of a former student. Jeffrey Munguia had been a staff member at Carteret Middle School teaching English Language Arts, or ELA. He was a North Bergen resident, was charged with second-degree counts of sexual assault and endangering the welfare of a child. He was no longer a teacher in the district at the time of his arrest, according to the prosecutor's office. Doesn't matter, he's still a teacher. Jack Wilder, 26, of Somerville, formerly of Hoboken, was charged with 1 count of possession of child pornography and 2 counts of enticement of a minor. Oh, I know what this is going to be. Federal prosecutors said that in February 2024, the then history teacher at charter school in Plainfield contacted a minor on a mobile payment app and offered to pay the victim for sexual acts. The minor victim also sent Wilder sexually explicit photos, police said. Wilder was initially questioned on July 2024 after arriving in New York from a trip to Iceland. Jeez. Law enforcement searched his cell phone and found child sexual abuse material. How sick are these people, huh? Thomas R. Carrier, a 26-year-old teacher, sports coach in Monmouth County, was accused of offering to pay cash for a sex act and sending sexually explicit media to himself to a person he thought was a 14-year-old girl, the Monmouth County prosecutor's office said. Thomas R. Carrier of Howell was charged with attempting endangering the welfare of a child, attempted promotion of obscene material to a minor, and attempted criminal sexual conduct. Carrier was a teacher at Mahala F. Atchison Elementary School. I know where Tinton Falls is, as well as a girls' basketball coach at Shrewsbury Borough School. He was suspended from both jobs pending the investigation. Oh, wait a minute, go back to that picture. Could you please, producer? Oh, man. Okay, let me read it. Kurt Zimmerman. In February 2024, a married teacher from Rockaway was accused of sexually molesting a student over a decade ago. Kurt Zimmerman was arrested in Paramus and charged with 3 counts of third-degree aggravated criminal sexual assault and second-degree endangering the welfare of a child. The sexual conduct recently reported to the police took place in 2013 at Westwood Regional Middle School at Westwood Regional High School, according to the Bergen County Prosecutor's Office. There's the janitor. Philip Porter, 76-year-old Hackensack public school custodian, was accused of sexually assaulting a 9-year-old girl. Philip Porter of Hackensack was arrested in March 2024 and charged with aggravated sexual assault by contact, and endangering the welfare of a child. Hackensack police had contacted the Bergen County Prosecutor's Office Special Victims Unit regarding sexual assault of a juvenile that happened in the past. Great. Omar Sugutokogu, I don't know. Omer of Garfield was arrested in June 2025, accused of exposing his genitalia to two students and asking for sexual acts. The alleged offense happened in October 2024 at Hudson Arts and Science Middle School, where Omer was an IT professional. The computer support staffer at the alleged offenses happened in October at Hudson Arts and Middle School, where he was an IT professional. Hudson County Prosecutor Esther Suarez said. By the way, she's a tough prosecutor. She is going to bury him. He was charged with 2 counts each of second-degree sexual assault by contact and third-degree endangering the welfare of a child. Okay, there it is. Stephen Gordon, a 67-year-old high school teacher in North Jersey, was accused of making sexual contact with a student in May 2024. Stephen Gordon of Jersey City faced 4th-degree criminal sex contact and 2nd-degree endangering the welfare of a child, Hudson County Prosecutor Esther Suarez said. Yeah, get him, Esther. In February 2025, Gordon pleaded guilty to a lesser charge. I do believe that's all of them, and I also want to credit the article. I do believe it's from 92.7 WOBM, which is a radio station, and this would be their webpage. Now, that's just rattling off a list of people that got arrested in New Jersey for this in the last 2 years. There may be a whole bunch of cases we don't even know about yet. And we have to start policing our schools better. Hey, you know what? What's the problem with going to your school and demanding cameras in the classroom? I don't care about the teacher's privacy. Why should she have privacy? Or he? They. It's teaching a class of students. It's for the public good. I mean, it doesn't have to be on closed circuit. I mean, it doesn't have to be on an open circuit where parents can tune in, although I have no problems with that either. But everything should be recorded. These people, there are too many people having too many interactions with too many kids. Now, this joker got picked up again, by the way, to close out the story properly. Administrator with career in athletics charged with molesting a student. Well, he was charged with 2 more similar charges in that time period. Okay, what we're becoming now is we're becoming a bunch of sheeple. That's all right. I'm not reading anymore. What we're becoming is a bunch of sheeple. All right. This guy here was charged with 1 case. Now he has 2 more cases. How many kids are getting wrecked by this? All right. So now look at what we've gone through now. If you're not living in a dangerous neighborhood that comes after your kids to be gang members or drug dealers or have to defend themselves or turn them into supine soy boys and girls, then you're facing the trans people who want to read books to you. Now, I mean, that one, well, I won't say much for that headgear. Was at least covered up. But, I mean, I've seen a lot of them doing this stuff in thongs. And kids putting dollars in the thongs, okay? I certainly don't want the staff at any go-go bar to be going reading books to kids and getting dollars in their G-strings. It's wrong! On any level, any sexuality. You do not sexualize children. Let them be kids. Let them be innocent. This is evil, destroying our children one piece at a time. And they're making them vulnerable to jokers like all these people that I read about to you to use and abuse. And then once a child is used and abused like that, yes, there's plenty of children who go through it and come through it okay. But left unattended, or some kids even with a lot of help, end up on the wrong side of the law, maybe a degenerate, drug dealer, drug addict rather. It used to be like this real cool thing years ago when we say, oh, well, it'd be really cool to get it on with a teacher. If your teacher wanted you, that would be hot. There's nothing wrong with that. Like, as far as a man to a woman teacher, now, of course, you reverse that, and now that's a whole different matter. But no, it's not cool for anybody, because you don't know what kind of moral degenerates you're going to create. And I don't mean to blame the victims here. It's just a fact that they will become, something dark if they're not, helped properly through this. And some of them who even get the best help possible turn into dark figures. So we, as parents, grandparents, whatever we are, we got to start getting involved. And we got to start finding out what's going on in our schools. We want to know the names of all our teachers. I talked to someone recently that didn't know the name of all the teachers in their child's life. So we can't allow this to continue. You have to be active, you have to be in there, and you have to be noticing things. All right, you have to watch. I understand that it's like much different than when we were kids. Your parents didn't have to be the Gestapo like that. I'm X generation. We grew up in the, we're on the bikes. We'll be back in 12 years or so. Okay. But these days now, there's too many and too much. We've allowed perversion to overtake the world by such a degree now that we have to protect against it with much harsher and fiercer measures. So I want that really etched into people's heads. I mean, I hope that you can see that just from what happened in New Jersey alone, we're in a very dangerous place right now. Oh. Sorry. Okay. My apologies. We're in a very dangerous place right now, and we have to fix it. We have to heal. We have to do something about it. And the biggest part of doing something about it is being right there where, your family is, and right there checking into your kids' work, checking into the teacher. Nothing wrong with looking up a teacher if you want to. I mean, there are some parents that have resources where they can look up people in these situations. Okay, next I want to move on to something that absolutely horrified me this week. Now, it's not an America issue. It's certainly not a New Jersey issue, but this is in Canada. Now, this is after a gentleman in Canada killed an intruder who had broken into his house. All right. Canadian police chief, if you ever find yourself the victim of a home invasion, we are urging citizens not to take matters into your own hands. The best defense is to comply. Now, what he's basically telling you is to be sheeple. And look, somebody breaks into your house, you have the most basic right to self-defense. And you know what? Even if a few people have to be martyrs, for this cause and make that point, then it has to be done. But you can't let them take away your right to self-defense. They're breaking into your home. All right? Look at this here. All right. This was a meme I repurposed. I used to work at Turn Up News. And this is a meme I repurposed from the modern era. This was about, originally it was about a guy in England who killed an intruder that came into their house. He was like 80-something years old, and the police frog marched him for everybody to see. It was so ridiculous. Anyway, dear intruder, here are the items you seek to procure for your own obviously more important existence. If you intend to molest us as well, we humbly request you use the Vaseline provided. Thank you, the Sheeple family. Okay? You see the problem here? We're becoming this, the Sheeple family. I mean, are you going to let somebody touch your kids, touch your wife? or even women. You going to let somebody touch your kids? Whatever. You just going to give in? Hell no, it's never surrender. Now, I know this is Canada and not the United States, but there are plenty of places in the United States. You saw what Daniel Penny went through. Any person that defends themselves righteously, can expect Soros-based prosecutors to go after them. All right, but this is what we must not become, and we cannot allow this. All right, let me move on to the next story. I just, that one really just stuck with me in a really dark way. All right, before I get to the main story, according to me, I did ask for prayers on Facebook because I have been having some health issues. And I just want to thank all the people that responded. I mean, there were, I can't really see from here because I'm in the way, but there were a ton of people that I think about 200 that checked in on it, and there were 130 comments, and they were all prayers, and it was a beautiful, beautiful thing, and I thank you all for it. And I'm always here for your prayers. You can find me at PegLegCraig on Facebook. Feel free to join me. I cut down my membership I cut down the people that I am friends with to 3,500 so I can make some room for some new people. These were all people that had either passed on or turned into left-wing nut jobs. So I got rid of all of them to make room for new people. So PegLegCraig at Facebook. And yeah, we can talk about all this a lot better in a forum like that. And I know people hate Facebook, but you know what? It's there. Let's use it. Okay, now, this is my main story for tonight. And to me, it's people have pets. And I want people to understand that pets mean a lot to people. And to some people, pets are as much a member of the family as a sibling or an uncle or an aunt or anyone else. Okay? And in this particular case, I'm going to show you a few here that are from our show family. We only have two here. Yeah, that's right. The top one is Oscar. That was my cat. By the way, he never liked anything to do with the gay agenda. So you can see him there ripping something up there that's all rainbowy. And below that is sweet little Maple, a member of the show's family who sadly passed away a week ago. Oscar died in 2022. However, I did not find out about it until a little over a week ago. So I want everyone to know that I care about your dead pets because I know what they meant to you. I know what Oscar meant to me. Oscar was the driving force behind me being able to lift myself back up after everything had gone bad for me, physically and emotionally and everything else after, I got ill, let's say. So Oscar was a big part of that recovery for me. And I certainly wouldn't be as mobile as I am now if it hadn't been for him. And his love and his caring and, his gentle being, meant a lot to me. So I don't dismiss your stories of your dead pets. I care. I love them. As a matter of fact, if you want to send me some pictures, you can catch me at what email am I supposed to give for this? I forget. Oh, no. Okay. It would be Crossing Corpses Podcast. I can't use my main email for this, I'm told. Crossing Corpses Podcast at gmail.com. All right. And you can mail, we can talk about it. We can exchange some emails. I mean, I can't pen pal everybody, but, I'd like to hear your stories. And I'm going to do a feature on this show, to celebrate a past pet or, maybe a living pet or maybe a pet that's ill and needs some prayers. I'm going to try and do that every other week. I'd like to do it every week eventually, but we'll see how the shows go. For tonight, However, I'm just about out of time, but I want to share one thing with you. And, people constantly have this thing about uh, is are there pets in heaven? Okay. Now, I don't necessarily know the answer to that, but I do know that in Isaiah 65:25, in the King James Version, the wolf and the lamb shall feed together, and the lion shall eat straw like the bullock. And the dust shall be the serpent's meat. They shall not hurt nor destroy in all my holy mountain, saith the Lord. So we don't have predators up there, but it's well. I mean, actually, I believe these are the animals that'll be on the earth when God resets the earth during the millennium. Proverbs 12:10: A righteous man regardeth the life of his beast, but the tender mercies of the wicked are cruel. So remember to be good to animals because it is biblical. God loves his animals. They're his creations as much as you are. You are the highest of his creations because, as he says in, sorry, I can't remember the passage, but your value is worth many, many, many birds. Okay. I believe that was just a measure. But anyway, I'm going to have to go for tonight. I'm feeling a little bit off and a little bit hecky. So I thank you for tuning in. And I love you all for being here. And I want to thank my Rumble watchers. I want to certainly thank my Getter people. I love you. You're my family. And I'd like to thank everyone else watching anywhere else that you are. We're available in a whole lot of places now. So stick with me. Shows are going to get better every week as my health starts to get better. Then I'll be able to do a little bit more. But I hope tonight that I gave you a little bit more of what you tuned in for. So pray for me. I'm praying for you. If you're going to pray for me, pray for my health because right now, it's okay, but it could be better. Grace and peace to you. Good night.